All right, everyone, once again, this is your casting host, Beef, bringing you some more replay action from WCS Europe. This is lower bracket round 2 here between these two Protoss players. Joining me once again, Brandon from Muatorn TV. Game 3 shouldn't have happened, but we're here. What should we expect?
Well, Daybreak, generally a kind of macro map. You can do stuff like Phoenix All-Ins on this map that are really, really strong. But for the most part, you generally see robotics expands into macro. It's a really bad map for Blink Stalkers because there's just nowhere to blink into the main. So unless you really want to do like a 3-gate, like you go 1 gate expand, or sorry, not expand, 1 gate into robo with 2 gas. Get your Twilight, start blinking, then throw down your extra gates and just go. It can work, but other than that, you don't really want to bother with blink on this map, so I'm guessing Colossi.
Okay. Colossi always a safe guess here in PvP. But before that, we need to introduce our players in the bottom left-hand corner of Daybreak. The blue Protoss bringing it back to 1-1 after a very aggressive opening from his opponent, but persevering and bringing it back in this series. He's roxkis.TITAN.
In the top right corner, the legendary Papatas himself. Oh, WCS, how we love you. Obviously, I just spoiled the name, so WCS. He's playing red.
Yeah, so Team WCS. Is he TtWhiteRa? I think that's what he is.
Yeah, TtWhiteRa.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
Sounds right. My keyboard's TTE. I like those guys. I think we talked about this on a previous cast.
We did.
They fixed my keyboard for free.
Yeah,
And,
that's pretty badass.
TTE can't say enough good things about that company. Give me a sponsorship. That'd be awesome.
True. That would be pretty cool.
So we were talking.
Sponsorships are fun.
We were talking about Phoenixes on this map, and that's definitely something that got seen a little bit at WCS Asia this past weekend. It seemed like almost every game on Daybreak, people were going Phoenixes. There were multiple games where it was Phoenix versus Phoenix, and those were some funky-looking battles.
You know, I've never actually seen a Phoenix versus Phoenix game. Like,
Yeah,
it
it was absurd.
never happens. So I guess those games must have been real funky. But,
They were funky. There was
Yeah, I
definitely one engagement where each side had like 10 or 12 Phoenixes, and they literally just flew across the map shooting each other until there was like 4 Phoenixes left.
that sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, the battle started at like the bottom left main and ended
Right.
at like the bottom right fourth.
Wow.
was-
That is an intense battle, my friend.
It was interesting. It was like a whole new definition of drive-by. Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway.
we see the robotics from WCS, so he's not going Phoenixes. Kind of sad. We could still see it from Titan here, though.
Yeah.
Nope, robotics himself, too, so no
Aw.
Phoenixes.
Sad. We'll have to cast some WCS Asia replays to get our quota of Phoenix
Yeah.
versus Phoenix action.
That sounds fun.
And so with both these players going to be going Robo right now, it's not looking like any blink or anything like that. These are going to be pumping out an Observer very quickly here, and then going to be transitioning into Immortal production, possibly looking like it could be an expand from either one of these players.
Yeah, I expect both of them will expand. Titan will probably put down 1 more gate and then expand. WCS already got his 2, so he might just go with that. You can go to 3, but that's kind of rare on Daybreak. And you can also do it off 1, which I do on Daybreak. But nope, actually Titan's going up to 3 gates, so might
As
not be
is
an expand
WCS.
after all. Yeah, they both are.
Important to note that Titan did just have a proxy pylon down in front of WCS's base, but as soon as he saw that there was no Nexus down, he canceled that immediately.
Really?
Yeah.
That's different. We see just a Stalker and 2, or sorry, a Zealot and 2 Stalkers poking up the ramp, seeing what's there. I think they saw the Immortal, so kind of gives them an idea of what's going on. If not, they definitely just saw it now. So he definitely knows robotics tech. WCS, on the other hand, does not know, and Titan's expanding, so he wanted to go to 3 gates before he expands. And WCS, here we go again, man. Colossus.
WCS with his 1-base Colossus is, yeah, he just really does not want to get off that. I mean, his mantra, we make expand, then defense it. Nope, not today.
We make Colossus that attacks it. Nah.
attacks it, and don't protect it very well,
Yeah.
and let it die to 8
Attacks
stalkers. Oh
Sounds
man.
good. Too bad we're not defensing though.
So yeah, that pylon that was canceled over in front of WhiteRa's base, it looked like he was just going to try to punish something like a blind suicidal expansion with that 3-gate robo and just a tiny bit of pressure there. Probably could have punished a really early expand, but as soon as he didn't see that, that did get canceled. So only losing 25 minerals, but that probably would have been a game-ending move if he was able to kill an early expansion like that, then take an expansion back at home for himself and contain his opponent. But that's not what we saw there. And WhiteRa with 2 Immortals already out on the field, and the first Colossus is going to be finishing up right now. And even starting to warp in proxy pylons with a couple of Zealots and a Sentry. This is looking like it's going to be a very aggressive push.
Yeah, it's going to be really strong, and I think WhiteRa might win with it. He's also got 2 Immortals with this and a couple Sentries, and Titan's just really not got lots of stuff. Oddly enough, what he should be doing right now is walling off. Generally, the best way to stop this is to make all the Zealots walk against gateways. But no, he's not done that, so this is trouble, man. WhiteRa's also going to break these rocks just in case Titan did decide to do something like that, so we're going to have to see how well this works for him.
Now,
nice little stalker flank. But
yeah, nice job there from Titan. He's able to kill the proxy pylon there by bringing the army away from that ramp and even buy himself a little bit more time, which is what he needs right now. With that superior economy and that higher gate count, he's going to be able to warp more stuff in than his opponent. A few force fields going to be going down there. The Colossus steps up to break those down, but immediately takes a lot of fire here from these Immortals, and the Zealot's going to try to push their way back in, but that Colossus already has 0 shields and half armor life right now. So if that Colossus tries to break any more force fields, it could easily die to these 2 Immortals.
yeah, that was pretty much the other way to hold this. It's just less, or sorry, this version is just more dependent on Sentry energy, so really he can only engage like that once. There's only 1 force field left right now for Titan, so if WhiteRa were to go again, he wouldn't need to crush any force fields. The idea is that you pull the Colossus forward and then target it with your Immortals and your Stalkers. It was well done, but didn't quite get the Colossus, which is what you want when you go for that. So we're going to have to see, you know, will WhiteRa wait long enough for Titan to get a couple more force fields so he can try another engagement like that, or, you know, will he not even bother and just kind of let his Zealots wash against force fields while he attacks with his Colossi? Gonna have to see here.
Yeah, and
a bunch of Stalkers warped in too.
Round 2 comes in right here. 1 Immortal does get sectioned off by very nice force fields there, and WhiteRa, content with that, pulls back without losing anything other than 1 Zealot.
Yeah, that was a really good engagement. Anytime you can like just kill something as important as an Immortal or a Sentry for a single Zealot, which is essentially fodder, that's awesome. You know, you're not really relying on Zealots to do damage here. You're relying on them to tank damage that everyone else can kill.
A big engagement here. Nice force fields from both sides. The Zealots really not able to take a whole lot of beating there. They're not really able to get into the front, but the Colossus does indeed fall to that lone Immortal, and now it's going to be 2 Immortals versus 1 Immortal, but the Stalker count vastly in Titan's favor. Up 6 Stalkers, 7-13 right here. Another force field is going to go down and make sure that the Zealots aren't able to make contact onto WhiteRa's army, but neither composition really has a whole lot of Zealots left. Both of them rocking some very low energy sentries there, and a decent number of Stalkers, but the 2 Immortals not enough from WhiteRa to try to press the advantage right here. And it looks like Titan has in fact defended his natural.
Yeah, definitely a good job by him. He, you know, was patient. He didn't like try to walk down the ramp or anything stupid like that. He just got the sentries he needed for the force fields. The Zealots weren't really a factor, and baited the Colossi into walking up. And when you kill that Colossus, it doesn't do any more damage because it's dead. So just well done by Titan. So now he's got a good lead here. WhiteRa doesn't even have an expansion yet.
Yeah, WhiteRa instead opting to go for another Colossus and Thermal Lance. So you think he might push with 2 Colossus Thermal Lance here? Can he even afford to get a second Colossus? Yeah, he does actually start a second one.
Yeah, he can. It's just so hard. That's pretty much going to be it, plus Zealots again. So what he's got for range units is, what is this? 7 Stalkers and 2 Immortals with the sentries.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Everything else is going to have to be Zealots for the rest of the game. He might get a few more Stalkers, but they're just too expensive.
Okay. And so back at home for Titan, working off of only those 5 gates still. He has dropped a robotics facility and gotten a warp prism out. Do you think this robotics facility is going to be for speed, or is it going to be so that he can start Colossus production of his own?
It could be either one. Speed would be a good choice, but then, I mean, Colossus, you could do both. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Is what I would do here, because you want to. Oh, here we got an engagement. Okay, I'll explain that now. You want to pressure them because they're going to be out of their base. You obviously know that their entire army is going to be away from their base, and they're going to be warping it at this forward pylon. If you force them to warp in at home, that makes their attack weaker. But then again, I mean, when you're defending against Colossi, you want Colossi. So, yeah, it's going to be for Colossus.
Okay, and some nice force fields here. Going to be able to section off a lot of those zealots and pick off a lot of the tanking force here from WhiteRa's army, but the Colossus doing a nice job of making sure that nothing can press too far up the ramp right now, and both sides losing a ton of zealots, but not a whole lot of much else.
Yep, it's pretty much fine for both players. My cat just jumped up onto my desk. Yeah, good engagement here for WhiteRa so far. He's been using his Colossus advantage just because they have such far range that he can keep attacking behind force fields, and, well, Titan really can't. He's been focusing on Immortals. Looks like he's taken all of them but 2 of them out, and he's killed most of the Zealots here, so good engagement from WhiteRa, but he's still behind. He's still got 2 Colossi, though.
Yeah, Titan with a 32 supply lead right now, continuing to get stronger and stronger as this goes on, but WhiteRa going to go for it right here. He sends his 2 Colossi right up that ramp, and they're met with a large ball of blue Protoss, Thermal Lance, and another Colossus on the way now for Titan. And it looks like a lot of units on move command right now for WhiteRa. This could be disastrous, as a few units do fall there, and a couple of sentries, very important sentries, do fall. Indeed, those Colossi are going to poke up once again with their extended Thermal Lance, going to be able to take a couple of pot shots for free at this army, but as a second Colossus does join Titan's army, the Colossus count is evened out. But that Thermal Lance, once again, going to show just how important it is. One of the last 3 Stalkers does get absolutely blasted there and does fall as WhiteRa's army gets smaller and smaller, but nice Colossus control from WhiteRa, keeping those safe while taking as many shots as he can at his opponent's army.
Yeah, he's been having really good micro, and here we go for that actual engagement. The Zealots are connecting right now, but there just aren't enough. Seeing as Titan has Colossi of his own, at this point range doesn't really matter, seeing as they're killing Colossi. WhiteRa's, yeah.
Yeah, WhiteRa's dead. The red Protoss dropping in supply. D-E-D, dead.
Maybe
D-E-E-E-E-D. Deed.
He's that dead. Dead.
So Titan making a comeback in the series, going from 0-1 to what should have been 0-2 to bring it out 2-1, and he's going to be moving on this tournament. WhiteRa is unfortunately going to be eliminated.
Yeah, I'm sure WhiteRa's pretty sad that he didn't just queue his units in game 2. He'd have definitely taken that. I mean, I suppose if he'd like move commanded his army into Titans in the second game, he could have lost, but
yeah,
that wasn't gonna happen. He's WhiteRa, although he did have that one bad movement, so maybe it could have.
Certainly. All right, well, that is the end of this series. We're going to be moving on to try to find another one to do for casting today. I've been your casting host, Beef. Joining me, Brandon, a.k.a. Muatoran, a.k.a. Muatoran TV. Check both of us out on YouTube. Those are spelled out for you here on the overlay. I'm at BeefPot51. He's at Muatoran TV. Brandon, any final words before we close out this series?
Well, Titan played really well, so I'm happy he got through, but everyone has a special place for WhiteRa, so it's really sad to see more than hate it.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to see WhiteRa do really well at a tournament again sometime soon. That'd be nice. All right, we're moving on. Hope to catch you guys.